Disclaimer. This content may dramatize real events and include speculation. Viewer discretion is advised as details may not be fully verified. 1 hour ago, a judge ordered Ellen DeGeneres' arrest after a recording from Twitch was played during Diddy's trial. In a shocking turn at the Superior Court of California this morning, Judge Harrison Trent officially signed an arrest warrant for Ellen DeGeneres. This happened after a secret audio message from the late Stephen Twitch boss was played in court.
The arrest order is a major move in the ongoing trial against music mogul Sean Diddy Combs. The new evidence, a locked voice memo said to be recorded by Twitch just weeks before his sudden death in December 2022, changed everything. The court heard it for the first time yesterday, and it could turn what many thought was a suicide into something darker and possibly criminal. The fallout was immediate. Lawyers rushed to respond. Journalists were quickly removed from the room, only to be let back in later. Judge Trent, showing no emotion, approved a federal arrest order for one of TV's biggest names within minutes. But what exactly did that audio say? And how did it point the finger at Ellen? Let's go back to the start. This isn't random. Those were the first 4 words Twitch said in the recording. His voice, calm, serious, resigned. It was the kind of voice you hear when someone has decided that the truth is all they have left. I don't know who hear this, he said.
But if they find me and call it suicide, no, this isn't random. This is because of what I saw, what I know. What came next wasn't loud or dramatic. It was a slow release. He described things step by step. Pressure, fear, and parties. Not just any parties. These happened late at night in fancy hotel penthouses, rented under fake business names. These are the same parties that Diddy, now on trial for conspiracy and trafficking, is said to have organised, funded, and kept hidden. I went with Ellen, Twitch said in the recording. She told me to smile, said everyone there was safe. But it didn't feel safe. It felt like I was being watched, like I was chosen for something. His voice trembled, just once. He never actually said blackmail, but he didn't need to. Stephen Twitch boss was loved around the world.
When he died in late 2022, people mourned him with candlelight events, celebrity posts, and endless grief online. Officials ruled his death a suicide. They found a note at the scene that never shared all of what it said. Back then, they only mentioned that it talked about personal struggles. But in court, when the recording was played word for word, a different story came into focus. Twitch spoke about how uneasy he felt in the groups he was around. He said working with Ellen led him into elite social circles where things weren't what they seemed. He dropped hints, initials, vague names, E and S, and mentioned a billionaire producer with a secret mansion on the East Coast. More than that, he described a pattern. Calls from hidden numbers, late-night invites to parties, signing NDAs without even reading them. And then came the chilling end of the message. If anything happens, don't only blame Diddy.
But her perfect image started to fall apart in 2020. That year, many former workers accused her of allowing a toxic workplace filled with fear and racism. Ellen apologized publicly. The show's ratings fell, but her image mostly survived. Now, that image is in serious danger. The recording shows Ellen not as a bystander, but as someone who was part of the environments where Twitch felt the most scared. I was with her, Twitch said. She told me everything was fine. But I think she knew. I really do. After the tape came out, more past employees of her show came forward anonymously. They said they were told not to ask about Ellen's close relationships with certain people, including Diddy. Some said the show had a strong sense of control and heavy monitoring, even after the show ended in 2022. Judge Harrison Trent isn't new to major cases. He didn't rush to make the arrest decision.
Court files show that before the audio came out, federal agents were already looking into Ellen's money records and travel logs. These connected her to several secret events hosted by Diddy from 2019 to 2021. Two of these events were held in places that matched witness statements about so-called after-hours rooms. Rooms where phones were banned, staff changed every hour, and security came from outside firms that didn't seem connected to anything official. At one of those parties, Twitch was reportedly invited by Ellen herself. "It wasn't like the show," he said on the tape. She wasn't Ellen that night. When the news of the arrest warrant spread, the public was divided. Some fans defended Ellen, bringing up her years of charity work and public support for good causes. Others flooded social media using the hashtag #JusticeForTwitch, calling for real justice, not just for Ellen, but for an industry accused of hiding the truth. As of now, Ellen's lawyers deny all the claims.
She hasn't been arrested, but sources say law enforcement is in touch with her team. And through all of this, one chilling truth remains. The man who brought joy to millions might have died trying to tell a truth no one wanted to hear, until now. That haunting truth that Stephen Twitch Boss may have died trying to speak out leads us to the next shocking moment in this case. We go back to the courtroom. Day 2, not even 24 hours after Judge Harrison Trent signed the arrest warrant for Ellen DeGeneres, the prosecutors moved fast. They brought in new evidence that was directly tied to the first voice memo. This wasn't only about what Twitch said before, it was about what he left behind. For the first time, the court heard a second recording, simply titled Final Draft 4E. Experts confirmed that Twitch recorded it 3 days before he died. But this time, his voice was different.
It didn't just sound like a confession. It sounded like a farewell. I tried to believe you. I really did. You said it was normal. People who talk too much just disappear because they want to. But I know that's not true. I know what I saw. I know who was there. If you're hearing this, then it's already too late. Those words changed everything. It wasn't just about what Twitch said now. It was about the names and facts he gave. He mentioned exact dates, places, and flight numbers. 2 of the dates matched previous events connected to Diddy. And one of those events included Ellen being there too. Investigators tracked Ellen's private jet to Los Angeles on both weekends Twitch mentioned, December 11th, 2021 and April 9th, 2022. Even though her public calendar said she was either resting or working from home. Hotel staff at the Highland Viceroy confirmed a penthouse was booked under a fake name linked to one of Ellen's shell companies.
That's sweet. On the same floor where Diddy's party happened. But it didn't stop there. Guest lists that hadn't been released before showed Stephen Twitch Boss was officially listed as entertainment, confirmed. An insider close to the case later told reporters, "We were following Diddy. We didn't expect Ellen's name to show up, but the paper trail is too clean to ignore." And then came Alison Holker, Twitch's widow. Up until now, the public had seen her as a grieving mother just trying to survive the loss. But once prosecutors showed hidden financial documents, another side of the story came to light. Alison had received a payment from an unnamed entertainment company just weeks after Twitch's death. The payment was labeled Legacy Disbursement. It totaled more than $3.2 million. When asked, her spokesperson said the money came from Twitch's leftover earnings and was part of managing his estate. But legal experts raised red flags.
"No one pays $3 million just for residuals," said Relly Barnes, a top entertainment lawyer. "That number screams hush money, like they paid her to stay quiet before any lawsuit." The court has now ordered that all messages between Alison and her lawyers from November 2022 to March 2023 must be handed over. As this information became public, more former staff from Ellen's show began speaking out. 3 ex-producers, who all asked to stay anonymous, shared stories that followed a similar pattern. They said it was common to avoid talking about Ellen's private guests. They heard about after parties where crew were told to stay quiet. There was a culture where silence was expected. One former staff member remembered something eerie from the show's last season. Twitch came in late one morning. He didn't say much. He just sat down and stared at the ground. Ellen looked at him and asked, "You good?" He answered, "Depends who's watching."
The third one hasn't been played yet. Its title? If They Say I Gave Up. Judge Trent has said it will be allowed in court only after they're sure it's real and important to the case. Until then, people can only guess what's inside. What is known is this. The recording was made just 12 hours before Twitch died. People close to the family say it was locked in a password-protected drive, which was only recently opened using advanced digital tools. The FBI has now marked the contents as classified, but 2 lines from that final memo have already leaked. They read, "I loved my family. I loved dancing." But they're going to say I gave up, and that's what hurts the most. Since Ellen's arrest warrant became public, she hasn't said a word herself. Her lawyers released one statement, calling the charges deeply wrong and completely without proof. But outside Ellen's home in Montecito, there's been silence. No sign of her. No upcoming appearances. No comments from Ellen herself.
And that silence, the thing that once made her brand feel calm, is now the loudest part of the case. The trial is expected to continue on Monday. Prosecutors want the third memo played out loud in court. Ellen's legal team is fighting to block it, using rules about privacy and hearsay. Right now, the Ellen DeGeneres show isn't just a canceled talk show anymore. It's an example of how long someone can protect their image before it all breaks apart. Steven Twitch Boss is gone, but his real voice finally is being heard. And for the first time in a long time, Ellen might not be the one holding the microphone. The reaction to Ellen DeGeneres' confession wasn't comfort. It was chaos. Her carefully planned statement didn't stop the growing outrage. Just hours after her video confession was posted online, social media exploded with demands for real justice. News headlines became sharper. Ellen admits guilt. Will the system respond?
That same night, people gathered outside Warner Brothers studios, not just to protest one person, but to mourn the illusion many believed in for years. Posters read, "He danced so you could smile. You looked away when he cried." Candles were lit, not for revenge, but for truth. Inside the court system, prosecutors wasted no time. They shifted direction fast. Now, they were calling this a cover-up of an entire culture, not just a celebrity scandal. The investigation got bigger, reaching past Ellen and Diddy, into the entire system that allowed this silence for so long. Subpoenas were sent to talent agencies. Former party guests, top executives, entertainment lawyers, and even city officials were called for private questioning. Some started to talk, and that's when new evidence came to light. Hidden in the background data of Twitch's cloud storage, missed by both his family and the police, was a folder named Archived Contracts and Quiet.
Inside were scanned NDA forms with dates, signatures, and something even more shocking, email threads. They showed messages between assistants and publicists talking about how to handle things if Twitch flips. One message from a burner email to a top PR firm said, "If he leaks, switch the story to mental health. We've used it before." The courtroom wasn't just handling a legal case anymore. It was digging into the hidden layers that protected Hollywood for decades. And during all of this legal chaos, another name came back into focus: Diddy. He hadn't said anything during the past few days, but now, through his lawyers, he asked the court for immunity in exchange for cooperation. His legal team argued that while Diddy hosted the parties, he wasn't the one setting the tone. He claimed others created the expectations at those events. That statement clearly pointed the blame away from him.
And in a secret agreement leaked to the press, Diddy didn't just shift the blame. He gave names. One of the names he gave was Ellen. Not just as someone who went to the parties, but as someone who helped bring people in. According to the document, Ellen's role was more than attending. She suggested people to invite, mostly from her own circle. Artists, assistants, dancers, all looking for opportunities. One name stood out to investigators: Stephen Twitch Boss. At this point, the theory became something more. It turned into a legal case. The idea was simple. Twitch had been brought in on purpose. He was made to feel safe. But once he saw too much, no one helped him. Back on social media, the mood changed again. Support turned into sorrow. Sorrow turned into rage. A new hashtag took over the internet in just hours. Hashtag he tried to leave. And Alison Holker, who had stayed mostly quiet as the case grew louder, finally spoke again.
Not from a studio, but right outside the courtroom. Surrounded by her legal team and Twitch's family, she read from one piece of paper. He wasn't broken. He was betrayed. He wasn't depressed. He was disillusioned. He loved life, but not the kind where he had to stay silent. His only mistake was trusting people who thought his kindness meant he agreed. The statement ended with a new request: a formal investigation into whether Twitch had been forced, threatened, or drugged before his death. That motion was officially filed that same afternoon. What happened next shattered any doubt. Security footage was found from a hotel suite connected to one of the parties. The video showed Twitch walking in, clearly stressed. Right next to him was Ellen. They spoke briefly in the elevator. There was no sound, but their body language told the story. He shook his head. She pointed downward. He looked away. She touched his arm. He stopped moving.
3 days later, a cheerful video was posted online showing the two promoting the show's finale. Now, expert lip readers are studying the elevator footage to find out what they said. For Ellen, who had already admitted to being morally involved, this was the moment things turned criminal. Her lawyers started working on a deal to reduce her sentence if she fully cooperated with the bigger investigation. Behind closed doors, she began giving up names. She shared info about agencies, private travel services, and secret investors. And then, a shocking detail came out. Ellen had made a private video confession months before the scandal even began. It was never supposed to be seen. It was saved on a locked drive and was only found after her legal team handed over evidence. The title of the video? If They Ask. In it, her voice cracked. I told him it would be okay. I told him to stop asking questions because I was scared too.
I didn't kill him, but I made sure no one helped him either. That video was shown during a closed-door court session. No cameras allowed. But its impact spread fast. Streaming platforms paused multiple talk shows for internal reviews. PR firms cut ties with longtime celebrities. Charity groups using celebrity names posted public apologies for ignoring abuse. The cultural reckoning wasn't just starting. It was moving fast. And through it all, the world finally got to hear Twitch's full, honest voice. He didn't disappear quietly. He didn't fall. He stood up, and when he spoke, the lies began to crumble. The days that followed were unlike anything the entertainment world had ever faced. This wasn't just a scandal. It was a full breakdown. It wasn't about canceling one person. It was a direct challenge to a system. A slow-burning truth that could no longer be ignored began tearing down decades of carefully built public images, secret contracts, and official denial.
They wanted real change. So the fallout only grew worse. The California State Attorney's Office, under huge pressure, confirmed it had started a formal investigation. They were looking into how the entertainment industry used NDAs, especially ones that were used to keep lower-level workers, contractors, and performers from speaking out. At the center of the probe, the Ellen DeGeneres Show, its related production companies, and over a dozen guest lists tied to parties the media now called the Midnight Floors. But as the legal battle got bigger, the personal pain also grew heavier. Alison Holker, already grieving her husband and dealing with media attacks, revealed a new truth. Her family had gotten anonymous threats. Paparazzi camped outside their home. She had to pull her kids out of school. In a shared statement with her lawyer, she asked for privacy. But she also gave a warning. But people trying to keep this hidden are not done.
They've lost their shield, so now they're going after the witnesses. And she wasn't being dramatic. Within just a week, 2 former staffers from Diddy's event crew took back their earlier statements. One said they were threatened. The other completely vanished from social media. At the same time, a well-known Hollywood fixer, rumored to be an expert in cleaning up celebrity messes, was caught erasing links to important events and party photos from multiple online sites. When federal agents questioned her, she used her Fifth Amendment right to stay silent. What all this showed was chilling. The truth Twitch died trying to share wasn't just upsetting. It was dangerous. Still, more voices began to rise. A handwritten letter arrived at the court. It was postmarked from Nevada, written in neat cursive. No name was signed. But inside, it described, painfully, a similar party from 2017. The victim wasn't named, but the story matched Twitch's recordings. A dark penthouse suite. They've lost their shield, so now they're going after the witnesses. And she wasn't being dramatic. Within just a week, 2 former staffers from Diddy's event crew took back their earlier statements. One said they were threatened. The other completely vanished from social media. At the same time, a well-known Hollywood fixer, rumored to be an expert in cleaning up celebrity messes, was caught erasing links to important events and party photos from multiple online sites. When federal agents questioned her, she used her Fifth Amendment right to stay silent. What all this showed was chilling. The truth Twitch died trying to share wasn't just upsetting, it was dangerous. Still, more voices began to rise. A handwritten letter arrived at the court. It was postmarked from Nevada, written in neat cursive. No name was signed, but inside it described, painfully, a similar party from 2017. The victim wasn't named, but the story matched Twitch's recordings. A dark penthouse suite.
Everyone had to give up their phones. Ellen came in late and gave instructions to the group. The letter ended with one heartbreaking sentence. I thought I was alone. Now I know I'm not. Experts confirmed the handwriting and digital trail matched someone real. That letter became a turning point. It added weight to the fear many already had. Twitch wasn't the first, and he wouldn't have been the last. In response, an independent group was created, the Artist Integrity Review Board. It was made up of lawyers, performers, and trauma experts. Their job? Build a safe system to report abuse without fear of payback. For the first time, people could share their stories safely. And they did. So many came forward that the system had a waitlist in just a few weeks. As for Ellen, her silence returned, this time legally required. She was officially charged with obstruction of justice and conspiracy to hide evidence. But what really changed how the public felt wasn't the list of char.
It was her sentencing hearing. When Ellen stood before the court, she didn't read a script. She didn't let her lawyer speak for her. She walked to the mic, paused, and said, "I stopped listening when I should have paid attention. I laughed when I should have asked questions. And I'll carry that forever." There were no tears, no excuses. Just those final words before she was taken out of the courtroom. Her punishment? 2 years of restricted freedom. It was part of a new program that combined supervised living, financial payments to victims, and full cooperation with the ongoing case. Some said it was too soft. Others believed justice had been served, but with balance. But for those closest to Twitch, it meant something else entirely. On what would have been Twitch's 42nd birthday, a public memorial was held in downtown Los Angeles. Thousands of people came.
Others danced in silence to express what words couldn't. Allison stood on the stage, not to cry, but to speak. He wasn't just a headline, not just a hashtag. He was a father, a creator, a friend to so many of you. And today, we dance, not because he's gone, but because he finally told his truth and the world listened. From the crowd, someone shouted, "He didn't give up!" The crowd repeated it, louder and louder. He didn't give up. In that moment, the story changed for good. Stephen Twitch Boss would never again be seen as a man who broke. He would be remembered as the man who broke the silence.